What's up, guys? It's Calysta. I have a interesting video. So a huge disclaimer. If you are advanced in the game, this is not going to be the video for you. So this is a video that I made. Again, I made a request on Instagram, on Twitter, for people to just send me video ideas that they would want to see, and I got things everywhere, like on those channels, like in my mail. So I'm just coming up with basically creating a series of videos to help answer some of those questions. So somebody tasked me with coming up with a video that would summarize in 3 tips, the 3 things that every new player should kind of know to be successful in the game. That is a really good question, and it's hard because I had to sit down and think, what did I wish I knew, and let me make sure that I'm only mentioning 3 things. So here is my attempt. Now, again, everyone's gonna have their own take on this. I am by far not some sort of guru expert, but this is based on my experience. I've been playing the game for a couple of years. I have created alts, right, that are meant to help my main account. So I feel like I know a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So this is my attempt. So number 1, if you are a new player to Lures Mobile and you're kind of going through the process, you are probably going to make the most common mistake, which is you're going to start building more than one farm. Do not build more than one farm. That's the tip. And you might wonder, why am I saying this? Now, the reason that that's really important is because I really suggest that everyone early on figure out what you're going to hyper. It's not usually a good idea to say, I'm going to hyper everything, because you're not going to hyper anything. That's the thing. There's no way, right? You need to make sure that the buildings that are dedicated for resources are going to 1, maybe 2 resources. And farms is going to be the biggest waste. There is no way that, unless you're building a true alt account, if you plan on playing an account that you're actively going to play, you are never going to hyper food. Ever, because the consumption in this game will absolutely kill you. Now, let me just show you guys a little something. Let me go to my castle and let me show you guys my upkeep. Hourly upkeep, that item that you see in red, is basically your, how much food per hour I am burning through, doing nothing. I am just sitting here, and there is almost 54 million food that would be burned per hour. It is sick, right? That is, I could have my entire, inside my castle could all be farms, and I will never be able to have surplus. I will never be able to have enough to build troops, and it would be a hot mess. So that's kind of your upkeep. So, and even if you don't have as many troops as I have, right, and your upkeep is not as bad, it's still going to be bad. You're constantly going to be burning through it. So it's not, unless you're building a true alt that has no troops in it, do not build more than 1 farm. You're not going to need it. You are going to be fine. Trust me. You can trade with your other guildmates. You can farm for it. You can steal it from others. But there is literally no point in having more than 1 farm. Okay? That's the first tip. Now, tip number 2 is going to be, do not spam troops. This is an interesting one because I feel like in the beginning, everybody's super excited and everybody starts spamming troops. If you're gemming troops and you do not have T3 yet, you are making a mistake. The reason that I say that, and that feels impactful, but the reason that I'm saying that is especially for some of you newer players that are already starting to spend a lot of money on the game, this is not going to be efficient, because what you're going to be doing, and I know it feels good as you see your might climb up, right, and it's a very fast way to see your might increase. You're basically creating fluff might, and fluff might basically means that it's might that is not backed up by anything significant. It's basically a bunch of troops, but then when you click on folks that have fluff might and you look at their research is abysmal, right? And maybe they don't have their construction done. Construction research in this game is might that no one can ever take away from you. You can get zeroed and your research and your construction stay. Those are things that you need to invest in early on, as opposed to making a bunch of T1 and T2 troops. For sure, make enough so you can fight and have fun, but don't start spending a ton of money and investing a lot in that early on. Wait until you've unlocked T3. T3 is a more solid tier of troop to invest, having, you know, 1 million or 2 million of those early on. But I would not start spending money on like T1 and T2. So do not spam troops. Don't focus on that fluff might. Instead, focus on that, you know, real might, the might that comes from research, the might that comes from construction. My last tip is going to be, and I thought about this one, and again, I'm just thinking of like all the mistakes that I made, is don't invest in low level gear. So I have a video that I just made around trying to get to level 60 quickly. The reason that that's one of the many reasons that that's so important is because you're able to unlock tiers of gear that is significantly better from a statistical perspective. When you compare the stats, it is much better than the gear that you're getting from some of the lower tiers, right? For like level 40, or if you have a level 50 hero. So I want to make sure that you're not starting to buy packs and starting to spend money on trying to get like that, you know, tier level, like that hero level 40 gear, and trying to get that to gold, right? Especially if you're spending money, guys. Like my goal here is to like just help you kind of see the long-term effects of some of that stuff. And those are all mistakes that I made, that I've seen my guildmates make, that sucks, right? Because then you're like, you go and you unlock level 6 and you're like, whoa, this gear is way better, but I spent cash on getting, you know, X, Y, and Z to gold, and now this level 60 gear is going to take even more. So you want to make sure that, especially if you're going to start investing in anything that is gear related, especially war gear. I would say with research gear and construction gear, there is solid gear that you're going to be using forever and ever, regardless of the level that you're at, right? But I think for war gear, it does get significantly better as you hit level 60. So you don't want to make sure you're not investing in that early on. So that is a recap, guys, of my top 3 tips for a new player. Is like, do not build more than one farm, do not spam troops, do not invest in low level gear. Hopefully this helps. That was kind of hard. There's a lot of things that we could say to somebody who's new, right? Especially hindsight is 2020. When you look back and you see all the mistakes that you made, there's like so many things you could say. But I think those 3 really kind of encapsulate some of like the key areas where new players tend to get kind of tripped up. Again, as usual, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you have any additional videos for new content, or if you have any additional questions. Thanks.